Alright guys, and welcome back. I'm Elise Randolph, joined by Moderator. We've got a match for you today between Spectre Fleet and Team Skill Urself. Spectre Fleet is in blue. They've opted to bring a Guardian, double Navy Harbinger, double Navy Brutix, just regular Harbinger, Confessor, double Hyena, and Daredevil. So an interesting mix of control and kiting DPS in these battlecruiser hulls. Moderator, tell me about what Skill Urself brought.
So Skill Urself has brought a pair of Fleet Hurricanes, two Navy Harbingers, a Navy Brutix, an Executor for the Logi, seeing as how its Tech 2 variant, the Oneros, has been banned, a pair of those discounted 8-point Vigilance, a Vengeance, and a Purifier. Interestingly enough, we're seeing Spectre Fleet only come in with a 98-pointed team.
Yep, so that gives the red team 2 extra points coming into this match. And I think the warp-ins are also very interesting to note. Spectre Fleet came into the beacon at 0, not something you generally do with a Navy Battlecruiser core setup, but you know everyone's been coming in at 50, so they figured they'd grab this one and go for it. There are no flagships, obviously, because there are no battleship hulls here. The CCP just announced that. The Skill Urself did ban again, which is something that Spectre Fleet did have a flagship for, but no longer, as the desk had mentioned. And the match is about to start now. This is going to be a lot of damage early on. Skill Urself does have so many battlecruiser hulls. They've got the slight attack bar advantage and a slight DPS advantage, but Spectre do have a little bit more control, at least applied control, with these double hyenas, which should be able to pin these Vigilants down.
Yeah, I can't help but think that the Confessor should have been a Vigilant, or that Harbinger should have been a Fleet Cane. And speaking of the Confessor, he's already dropping down into low armor, getting primaried by these long-range beams and artillery. Those Fleet Hurricanes will be packing a punch as that Confessor now drops right off the bat.
Yep, and we did see a bomb go off. That's why the Spectre Fleet does have no shields on their entire team. This Purifier by the red side did drop some bombs, and that is one Hyena down as well to join the Confessor.
Yeah, these Fleet Harbingers and these Fleet Hurricanes have excellent tracking at range and excellent applied damage. That Harbinger of Zidane at 0 speed actually taking a massive pounding from this long-range damage, and I'm not sure why he's not pulling damage. He's now propping up, but it's too little too late as he's down into low hull.
Yep, this entire Spectre Fleet team is just sitting on this MJD beacon, kind of at 0, not really going anywhere. I guess maybe their plan was to engage the MJD beacon, but none of them have actually done it just yet. The Confessor and Hyena were a little bit off, and now the Guardian is webbed and scrammed by the Skill Urself team. So Spectre Fleet about to lose their very tanky logistics ship, which is a linchpin, and they have not really gotten anything to show for it. They've got a web on a Vengeance, but that's not really anything right now.
Yeah, and that Guardian is taking a lot of armor damage. He's going down faster than the Lannister army to Daenerys' dragons.
Right. I mean, that just happened right now. And, you know, one of the big important things... Okay, the Guardian is officially down. Samara is gone. One of the big things of taking these battlecruiser hulls is the fact that you can put out swarms of rep bots. But, you know, this bomber has been effectively bombing the rep bots off. We just saw another bomb from the Skill Urself Purifier hit the remaining rep bots on the entire Spectre Fleet Alliance team, and they have no more reps at all. The rep bots are dead. The logistics is dead, and you know all these ships are dying in very short order here, and Spectre Fleet is just sitting at 0 speed and just dying. They're not even trying to move.
Yeah, Skill Urself is definitely showing a lot of skill. That Navy Harbinger dropping only 2 real DPS ships left for Spectre Fleet. The Navy Brutixes are more or less at 0 speed. They've accepted their fate, getting webbed. They're getting primaried. Rather good damage on top of them, and I'm just really curious why a Confessor instead of a Vigilant, or why a Harbinger instead of a Fleet Cane, but we may not know the answer right now. But the Brutix and the Daredevil dropping in the same server tick, just leaving the single Navy Brutix and Hyena for Spectre Fleet.
Yeah, this is one of the fastest matches of the day. My goodness, what a drubbing. Spectre Fleet will be eliminated from Alliance Tournament 15 now. And, you know, the strangest thing, I'm looking at the wrecks on the overview, not a single ship got within, or left 10 kilometers from their warp-in. They all just died in that first 10 kilometers, and they weren't even webbed down by these Vigilants. I expected these Skill Urself Vigilants to come up and, you know, act as heavy tackle, but they never had to. The massive DPS from these 5 Navy battlecruiser hulls was enough to just shoot through everything. So very, very good piloting on the Skill Yourself side. And, you know, extra shout out to this Purifier who managed to clear out all of the rep bots and, you know, just create a bunch of havoc with its one bomb. But for Moderator and I, that is it. Skill Yourself wins 100-0 and advance. Spectre Fleet eliminated. We're going to send it back to Apothecary and the boys in the studio.
This program is rated MA. It contains adult themes, coarse language, sexual references, and violence.
Can I ask you kind of a weird question?
Do you want to play some spaceships with me?
Hey guys, welcome back after that game between Team Skill and Spectre Fleet Alliance. Now that match was pretty interesting. I want to start by looking at the point values of those comps there, you know, with Team Skill bringing 100-point comp. So Antonio, walk us through the Spectre Fleet Alliance team there.
Spectre Fleet Alliance brought a 98-point comp, but they had a Daredevil that could have been upgraded to a Vengeance. I don't think they necessarily need the 90% web because they did bring 2 Hyenas. Or they also could have just upgraded the Harbinger to a Navy Hurricane.
Do you think that that's just a theory crafting error, or do they just forgot how to count to 100?
I don't really know myself. Maybe,
to be honest.
maybe they just liked having the Harbinger and Daredevil in there for some reason.
As well as Suetonian Reload, we have swapped the wonderful Daniel out for my man Rocket Xer. How are you doing? How is it far for you to come to Nottingham?
It's not too bad. It's about an hour and 15 minutes drive. But fortunately, my housemate also plays Eve, and he kindly drove today, so I can partake in the wonderful
partake in some beverages. Partake in some unbranded beverages.
Indeed, yeah.
Specifically. So you're going to be hanging out with us at the Alt Lounge tomorrow?
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'll be around probably for the morning. I don't know how long I'll be around though.
Any particular games you're looking to play there, or just hang out with nerd friends?
Well, I'm keen to try PUBG because despite the fact that the only now, bear with me, the only game that I've played for the last 13 years has been Eve, and I've played other stuff at downtime, like you know, like Enemy Territory back in the day and Rocket League more recently. But obviously, because downtime is now somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes, it becomes a bit pointless. So I don't really do much else, to be honest.
So how has the capital hunting game changed recently? As obviously you are the leader of the illustrious Wrecking Crew, the fear in the hearts of all capital pilots. Recently, the Warquels have gotten a huge boost in their usefulness in Eve. Have you guys been expanding your list of hunting to the Warquel whales, or are you still focusing on those Titans and those supercarriers?
Well, Warquels are something that was quite useful to us, certainly when the Citadel changes happened, in terms of the fact that you could just jump in, fit like 5 or 6 heavy warp scramblers on your roll call and hit panic, and then be completely invulnerable for the next 5 to 7 minutes, depending on your skill level, and hold the target down, and there's nothing they can do about it, right?
The heaviest interdictor.
Yeah, well, pretty much, which is hilarious. But obviously now it's been changed so that you can only use it while there's an asteroid present, and it has to be locked when you activate the module. So that only works in asteroid belts now, and you don't tend to get many supers in asteroid belts. So, I mean, we don't tend to use them as much as we did, but now we're planning on using the same characters to mine once the refinery changes come in November. So, I mean, we'll be all right. Our Moon Empire will live on.
Exactly. So we have news of a potential war brewing up north. Apparently a deployment is happening. Apparently some people are going to be shot, which of course we all love. Do you tend to find that, you know, fishing and hunting for Super Sun Titans is easier during peacetime when people are more relaxed, just moving stuff about? Or do you find that war provokes kind of more people need to do more things, so maybe kind of they lose track of what they're doing, maybe they're not paying as much attention because, you know, they're terrified of, you know, the actual enemies they're fighting. They pay less attention to the smaller groups like yours who are just camping certain regions for them to come through?
Well, I mean, the benefit of what we do really is the fact that we can kind of sit there and no one really takes note, because we're not a big group by any stretch. Obviously, you know, we're like, a lot of us are in PL, and we'll always be tied to PL in that way. But in the sense that of combat, it always benefits us to be close to a combat zone, but not in the middle of it, because if we're in the middle of it, then we can get hit with you know, in the crossfire sort of thing. So from our perspective, we'll try and catch solo people moving, either from where their alliance currently is to a new deployment, or moving back home after a deployment. So it always benefits us to have combat going on around us. At the moment, there's a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff going on in the south, and now that's obviously going to move north, where goons are now deploying up north, and they're going to burn the north, and there's the whole Reddit campaign going on. But that means that people are going to be moving from south to north, and it means people are going to be moving their ships, of course, and that gives us an opportunity to get kills, and other hunters like ourselves, like Low Sectionary, are going to be doing it. There's a group of guys in Malden Heath that do a similar thing, and also Snuff have been at it quite a lot lately as well. So it'll be interesting to see what dies. Certainly a lot of people will die on their way to the fight, as much as in the fight itself in some cases, especially in terms of ISK value, certainly.
Fantastic. So we do actually have another wonderful graph coming up here. We have the long-range webbing ships. So this is ships with bonus to their long-range webs. This is not the percent strength of the webs, like the Daredevil, the Vigilant, and the Vindicator. This is the ones with bonus to range. So Hyena here showing the most popular. So we've got the picks, which is the number of times they appear in the match, and the picks absolute, which is the number that have absolutely appeared. So if you pick a double Hyena, it would only show once on the orange, and double Hyena shows twice on the blue. So Hyena, most popular ship. Hyena, fantastic long-range webbing ship. Only 5 points, a lot of bang for your buck there. Balgorn, we have not seen double Balgorn apparently, although I know that some teams are fond of dual wielding those behemoths, so that is a whole 46 points for two ships in the current meta. Then we have the Hugin coming down, Rapier. Somebody's brought double Rapier by the looks of it at some point. I don't remember that match, but okay. Then we have the Kruor coming down, obviously very popular last year at 2 points, but still with that very fast cycling newts and long range web, still a very fantastic ship. We've seen a Loki come out as well, and we're yet to see the Ashimu, the Kaides, the Maraka, or the Vigil fleet issue. The Ashimu might take a back seat to the Curse or even the Pilgrim this year, given that the Curse and the Pilgrim are similar ships. Even without the webs, they get those TDs, which of course in an NBC meta is very, very important. And then the Kaides and the Maraka, these are of course AT prize ships, so only the richest teams have them, and they're going to be saving them for their harder matches going on. So I want to ask you two, actually, we were talking about uniques earlier. What do you think about the KDs and the Maraka specifically, and then what do you think about the other uniques we might see in this tournament, given that we've only seen the Rabisu so far? Suetonia?
I don't really like the KDs too much. I don't think it offers too much more control of the Kruor. It does more DPS and it's a lot faster, but you can only bring one unique. Do you bring a super faction Kruor in this tournament? I don't think so. The Morocco is very interesting. We know Pandemic Legion in AT14, I think, brought the Morocco Sleipnir sort of fly killer comp. Oh, sorry, that was AT13 when they took the game against the Camel Empire.
So, Reload, what about you? Are there any other AT ships that you're expecting to see towards the later rounds of the tournament? I know Etam is popular, as we mentioned, after Tinking is murdering as many of them as possible. What other ships outside of the Rabisu do you expect to see?
I definitely expect the Rabisus, Etanas, basically single ships that try and basically support the entire enemy, the entire friendly comp, because you can only bring one AT ship, and so you need to make sure that AT ship is like, it can carry, basically. It needs to be a carry ship, because so Mirachas maybe can be carried, but you can only bring one of them. If you can bring two, then that would be a really nice combo, but one might be a bit too weak. They do have the webs. Tanner's obviously a logistics, Rabisu also logistics, so they're the carry ships that you really, really want. Frigates, on the other hand, they're going to have to take a back seat on this one. Cambions were very popular back in the day, but not anymore, because you can only bring one, so they can't really, you know, carry as much as they used to.
Moving on then, this is the first tournament since the release of the Chameleon and the Whiptail in which we've been allowed the T2 movement drones. Do you think that this means that the Whiptail and the Chameleon may be now worth bringing, as we really didn't see them before, or do you think that there's the fundamental problem with the ship, either with regards to the AT or just generally speaking, that makes them less popular, less likely to be brought? Suetonia?
Oh, the Whiptail is very powerful. It's an interceptor instead of a pirate frigate, so it costs 1 point less, and then it's just a super powerful worm, and we know the worm is probably one of the best faction pirate frigates in the game. But again, as Ryder mentioned, it's not really a carry ship. There's normally another ship that you can turn into a unique that's going to have a bigger impact for a similar price. Now, I don't think you would bring a Whiptail if you could bring a Morocco. You know, if you had a comp that had...
And we are seeing the dominance of armor over shield this year in a lot of cases. We are seeing some shield comps, but very heavy on the armor, which makes possibly the Whiptail and the Chameleon, as you kind of have to shield tank them, right? Maybe less popular for that reason. Now, we're moving into our next match here. It's going to be Of Sound Mind versus Thermodynamics. So Thermodynamics, a team with a fair bit of hype coming into this tournament. I believe they got second or first place in one of the Imperium run tournaments. I can't quite remember the stats on that, but they do in fact, they are in fact going up against Of Sound Mind, who haven't had the best run in the history of the tournaments. They've been here for a couple of years, but they're yet to make a deep run. If we look at their results so far, we have Of Sound Mind losing to Shadow Cartel and then beating Razor Alliance, and Thermodynamics beating Requiem Eternal and losing to Exodus. So again, as with the previous match, I don't think we can say a lot from these wins and losses. You know, losing to Shadow Cartel. Shadow Cartel are certainly not what they once were, but then beating Razor Alliance. So Of Sound Mind possibly not looking to be one of the strongest teams, but at the same time, Thermodynamics, they beat Requiem Eternal, okay, and then losing to Exodus. And I think there are very few teams that you don't expect to lose to Exodus.
It's something that is going to happen, really.
Exactly. So what are your guys' picks for this match? We'll run down them. So Of Sound Mind versus Thermodynamics. Suetonia.
I think Thermodynamics have proved themselves a lot better than Of Sound Mind. They won one of the Imperium tournaments. They've been in the Even Team Minor League. They, I think, beat Requiem Eternal, which seemed really strong. They went through the feeder rounds. They ran that really strong drone all-in comp that we've seen. Of Sound Mind, I don't think they've yet to prove themselves. They haven't beat a mid-tier team, so...
Relay?
I'm going to go with Thermodynamics on this one. I'm hoping the hype will pay off, so I'm going to go with Thermodynamics on this one.
And Rocket?
I'm going to go with Thermodynamics from my hearing of them and then being around in EVO the last few years. As far as I'm aware, they're known quite well for their manual piloting and the small gang stuff that they do. I think it sets them pretty well for the tournament.
Yeah,
so
that does tend to bear pretty well into the tournament scene. Now, I remind you guys of the tool we've been using for you guys to bet on the matches. So you pick the winner of the match who you think is going to win for the next match, and then all the people who pick correctly will be entered into the prize draw to win 1 billion ISK. That's vote.eve_nt.uk. Again, that is vote.eve_nt.uk. We have some winners going down here. The winner of match 3, we have Drovolos Avalaria, which is, I've realised what a mistake reading out the names is going to be, but I've committed now. The winner for Waffles versus Out of Sight, which we saw won by Waffles there, that is M. Stricker, who I happen to know is a member of Waffles. He's their German mascot. The Goonswarm Federation versus the Ronin, as won by the Ronin there, that is Adrian Kervora. The winner of the predictions for It Must Be Chilly Because Damn Don't Shake versus End of Life, that's Strovolos, which I mentioned at the beginning. And then the Team Skill versus Spectre Fleet Alliance winner, that is going to be Mystical Might, who has won the billion ISK. So we've already given out 4 billion ISK so far today. However, there's much more money to give out from the wallet of Nash Cadaver. Let's get rid of all that man's money so he actually has to rat. So let's move on then to the next match coming up. So let's look at this match again. So this is Of Sound Mind versus Thermodynamics. We do have a few minutes before the match comes up. So it's a... Sorry, I apologise. It's a hyphen, not an underscore. It's vote.eve-nt.uk. See, I thought that was going to be accurate. However, on my beautiful whiteboard, which you guys can't see behind the camera, you guys can confirm that it is most definitely an underscore.
That is an underscore.
So it is vote.eve-nt.uk. Again, vote.eve-nt.uk for the chance to win a billion ISK on each match moving forward. Looking further throughout the day before the break, we have, after the of Sound Mind Thermodynamics game, we have Hull Control going up against Fraternity, which is a match I'm very much looking forward to. Fraternity, the Chinese team that have definitely their own meta, and then after that we have 2 more matches. However, I am told that we are but 30 seconds from the match starting, which means my clock is a little bit off. So let's head over to the casters to bring match 5 of the day of Sound Mind versus Thermodynamics.
Welcome guys back to this